Hey guys, this is Martin from AI Security Expert, and today I want to show you a little bit about LLM 09, so the ninth category in the OWASP Top 10 LLM, and this is about over-reliance. So it's when LLMs start producing content which make no sense at all, and uh, starting fake or creating fake information, for example, and things like that, right? So for that reason, I asked it to create 10 sentences of complete nonsense and make them sound smart, right? And then it basically creates me 10 sentences, and then I can head over to another ChatGPT window and then explain in detail, and then I put this in, and then basically it starts making stuff up, right? So it has created this itself as nonsense, but then it's making stuff up and it's giving like um, a summary of what this could mean and things like that. So this is hallucination effectively, right? Like, so this is hallucination whereby um, it is just making things up, right? And so there's a website called the Bullshit Generator, and you could just take phrases from there and then have ChatGPT analyze those, and then it would say like, oh yeah, it's this and that, but it's just making things up. So if it doesn't know the answer, if the data set does not have enough training data around a specific topic, what happens is it can start to hallucinate, and then it simply makes things up which are untrue. And that this is dangerous because when it does that in a production environment, and instead of saying sorry, I don't know the answer, or I cannot fulfill this task, then it tries to make things work for you, right? You can spin this further. Like, for example, it has an interesting theory to it. Like, tell me about wireless attacks which are not known or documented, right? So then it comes up with like interesting concepts. And while this may be a hallucination, there may be certain elements of truth in there, like quantum enhanced eavesdropping. I never heard of this. I've done wireless penetration testing for a long time of my career. So AI-driven adaptive signal interception is also interesting. I mean, those are all concepts whereby there may be some certain truth in there, which may be worthwhile further investigations or the likes. But it's basically whenever you ask about undocumented things, I mean, I ask it for this, right? Like, this is not a hallucination per se because I simply ask it for this. But what we have done earlier in the earlier example, that was simply it's trying to make stuff up out of a nonsense phrase, right? Like, you give it a nonsense phrase and it's trying to make sense out of it. But this is interesting, but it highlights the problem with LLMs that very often they hallucinate. So you have something like when you go to the playground, for example, you don't see this here in the ChatGPT window, but in the playground on OpenAI, you basically have something called the temperature value, right? And you can change that temperature value, and the lower you make that value, the more predictive or predictable the answer will be, right? So if it's higher, it's more likely to hallucinate and make things up and give you like unpredictable outputs. However, if you set it to zero point 0.2, for example, so it's pretty good. For example, if you are creating a bot for cybersecurity tasks and for logical reasoning and things like that, it's always better to have a lower value of the temperature than a higher value because it's more predictable when the value is lower. But this was just a side note. Just wanted to show you this in a quick little video today. That's all. And I see you in my next video. Thank you.